as you know, I love the English language very much. You might say I am crazy about English. And of course, there are many different words, many phrases we can use in the English language. Here is a way of using words in a rather interesting way when we talk about using words to express something. Quite often, the appearance of something or the way in which a certain thing looks. We can use the phrase turn of phrase. Turn of phrase. I know what you're saying, Mr. Duncan, what does that mean? Well, I will tell you, because that is my job. A turn of phrase is an expression or clever use of words that construct a simple phrase. So we will often describe something that is describing a situation or a person or an actual object as a turn of phrase. And I will give you some examples here just to explain what it actually means when we talk about a turn of phrase. For example, we might use the turn of phrase significant other. So when we describe another person as our significant other, we are saying that person is our partner, our life partner. Maybe your husband or wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, someone you are in a close relationship with. You might describe them as your significant other. They are your life partner. So that is a turn of phrase. We are using words in a very interesting way to describe one particular thing. Here's another one. We might talk about our 9 to 5. 9 to 5. One's job. We can use this as a turn of phrase to mean one's job. The thing you do for a living is your 9 to 5. The reason why, of course, is quite often people will work in their job between 9 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So that is why we use that particular turn of phrase. Your 9 to 5 is your job. We can also describe the characteristic of someone, a person's characteristic. For example, we might describe someone in a turn of phrase as tight-fisted. A person who is tight-fisted. We are using this particular phrase to mean a person who is mean with their money. They don't like to spend money on anything. They don't like to spend their money on other people, and quite often they don't like to spend money on themselves. We might describe that person as tight-fisted. It is a turn of phrase that we use to describe a person who is mean with their money. They are not very generous. We have some more examples. These are also various turns of phrase. Sticky fingers. A person who has sticky fingers is a person who might steal things from you or other people. In other words, we are describing that person as a thief. They are a person who might steal from you or from someone else. We can describe a person as having sticky fingers. It is an interesting turn of phrase. A thieving person might be described as having sticky fingers. A person who is lonely, a person who is sad and alone. Maybe they don't like being alone. Maybe they would love to have friends, but they don't have any friends whatsoever. We might describe that person as Billy no friends. I know what you're going to say, Mr. Duncan, that's very rude. But sometimes a turn of phrase might be rude or insulting. So they are not always positive phrases. Billy no friends, lonely person. You might go to a party and there is someone sitting in the corner of the room looking lonely and sad. You might say, who's that over there? Who's that Billy no friends over there? I know what you're going to say, Mr. Duncan. That is a very unkind thing to say. And I agree. But it is part of the English language. I like this one. We might describe a person using a turn of phrase as a soap dodger. What? A person who is a soap dodger is a person who is unclean. Maybe they have bad hygiene. Their hygiene is poor. Maybe they never wash. Maybe they never clean their teeth. We might describe that person as a soap dodger. It is an interesting turn of phrase to describe someone who is unclean. They have poor hygiene. And I suppose we've all met that type of person. Maybe a person who doesn't wash very often and they have a little bit of a smell. You know what I'm talking about. They are a soap dodger. They avoid washing and using soap. Here are some other interesting turn of phrases. Petrol head. A person who is a petrol head can be described as someone who is keen or crazy about cars. They can't stop thinking about cars. They are always reading magazines about cars. We can describe that person as a petrol head. They are crazy about motor cars. So it is a person who loves cars. I know someone who is a petrol head. I know one person in particular who is crazy about cars. Another one, we might describe a person as hitching their wagon, or to hitch your wagon to a group or a person. Quite often we use it to describe joining a group. You hitch your wagon to something. Again, this is a very interesting turn of phrase. We can say that a person will hitch their wagon to a certain group. They join and become part of it. A person who is shocked suddenly might jump out of their skin. To jump out of your skin is to be shocked suddenly. You jump out of your skin. This also, once again, is a very interesting turn of phrase. A turn of phrase is often witty or clever. It turns a meaning into something simple or memorable. They may sometimes be rude or insulting as well. So it is possible to use a turn of phrase as an insult or maybe as a type of observation towards a certain type of behaviour or a situation or a thing. A turn of phrase is often described as an expression. So they are interesting, witty, amusing expressions that we often use in English. A turn of phrase.